Here's a handful of things that are going to help you score a lot of takedowns. I'll just ramble off. I probably got 50, but I'll just ramble off until I get tired of talking. Number one is hold position. When you hold position, when you're a track runner and you're in a starting blocks, when the gun goes off, you're in position to take off. Well, guess what? In wrestling, you don't always do that. And I'm like, oh, there's an attack. Your opponent kind of stood up out of their stance. They're not going to stand wide up, right? And you wrestle Jordan Burroughs, your head raises up 1/8 of an inch, he shoots. Why? Because he doesn't need you wide open. Tom Brady doesn't need you wide open. So the more skilled wrestlers, they don't need you wide open, but they're going to score on you, right? They're going to score on you. So you got to hold position. Hold position. Why? Hold position so they can't score. Your stance is their target. If you give them a big wide open target and you hop around in a big basketball stance, they're going to have 37 different ways to take you down. You're locked and loaded in a world-class wrestler stance. Left leg back, left heel behind the left back pocket, right pec over right knee, face down, roll your eyeballs in the back of your head, stare at your opponent through your eyebrows, keep 60% of the way in your front foot, make contact with your left hand, right? Those 7 or 8 little tactics that you've learned if you have our online wrestling academy, which you should. You're in that stance, they're not going to get to score, at least not easily. You can take 95% of your opponents and you can say, oh, you go to a tournament, there's 267 kids on my bracket. So 95% are fluff. There's five kids on your bracket. 95% are fluff. There's 62 kids on your bracket. 95% are fluff. Not that they're not good kids. God loves them. Mommy loves them. I think they're cool kids. But they don't have the skills. Just like I suck at basketball, they kind of suck at shooting, okay? They're part-timers. Don't worry about them. Now, what you do, though, is when you stand straight up in a big basketball stance, like you don't have a brain, you are letting first-year JV kids score on you. Why don't you just say, 95% of the kids can't score on me because I'm in a really, really good world-class locked and loaded wrestling stance that you learned from Nick Purler, right? That I learned from John Smith 25 years ago. If you're in that stance, your opponents can't score on you unless they're very, very, very skilled. And they're still not going to score on you very much. Because when they get to your legs, that doesn't mean they score because you have good defense. Feet wide, chest high, knees off the mat, push and slide. Arch till it hurts. That's the 5 steps to your hip pressure defense. Change your whole life. Change your whole wrestling career on our online wrestling academy. You should have that. Okay, so your stance does those 2 things. It keeps your opponents from scoring on you, and like a track runner in the starting blocks, she's ready to fire. He's ready to fire. They're in their optimal loaded takeoff position. If you're out of position slightly, maybe you're in a staggered shooting stance. We call it that, a staggered stance and an attack stance. But your left heel is at 8 o'clock instead of your left heel back behind your left hip pocket at 7 o'clock. You can't shoot. So you step your left leg back behind you. Oh, takedown's gone. You missed it. And you're like, it used to work. Well, yeah, when you wrestle the kids who are no good, they get out of their stance for like 8 seconds, and they're like, oh man, whoa, I need to get in a wrestling stance. They're giving you a big, open, wide open chance to score. The good guys and girls don't. You better be loaded like a coiled up snake, ready to kill a rat. You better be loaded. Third thing your wrestling stance does is it makes you faster and stronger. Makes you faster and stronger, keeps your opponents off your legs, and gives you a platform to strike from. So, why does the stance make you faster and stronger? Well, if you have good weightlifting form, which is nothing more than position, not just feet position, hip alignment, shoulder alignment, head alignment, shoulder, right? Whatever lifting technique you have good form, which is body position, you're stronger. I want you to put your put your heels together and put your chin on your chest and try to deadlift any weight. You'll probably blow your back out. And then you get into a good deadlifting position, and now you're 300 times stronger. Why? Because of body position. It's all body position. It doesn't matter how technically or good you are. I can put, this is my wife's, it's a fast Lexus. I can put this engine in a minivan and it would not go fast around the NASCAR track. Why? Because it would tip over. Why? Because the position isn't good. You can get a Ferrari. Some Ferraris have 4-cylinder engines. Ferrari's fast. Why? It's 3 foot off the ground. It's super wide. It's got wide tires. It has that much airspace under it. It's the aerodynamics pushes the car to the ground. Right now, it's a souped up 4-cylinder engine because weight of the engine. Right, an 8-cylinder or 460 engine would probably not be good because it's too heavy. So everything is calculated. Well, you're kind of like a race car, aren't you? So if you have a high revving motor, you're in good condition, and you have a high revving mindset, you're a killer, right? Not everybody's a killer, but everyone can be. You have to learn to be a killer. Some people are killers, some people are not. Some people who are not killers choose not to be. Some people who are killers, who are not killers, just never developed an ability to be a killer because it wasn't important to them. Their parents didn't express it, their coaches didn't emphasize it, right? You have to be a killer. Some people are killers, some people are not, but anyone can be, right? You see killers in business, killers in wrestling, killers in coaching. There's teachers. There are teachers who are like 3-time teachers of the year in their school or national teachers of the year. They're freaking killers. There's killers. I know a guy who sells insurance, makes millions of dollars a year, owns an airplane, right? He's a freaking killer, right? Some people are not killers. I don't know, right? Your goal is to be a killer. So when you're trying, you might be a killer, but guess what? Your stance isn't very good. You're conditioned, but your stance isn't any good. You want to win really bad, stance is not good. You have fancy coaches, stance isn't good. You have fancy workout partners, stance isn't good. So stance is just everything for a multitude of reasons. Plus, what about confidence? If you get taken down 37 times in practice, your confidence isn't going to be very good. If you're getting taken down because your opponents are just kicking the crap out of you because they're really, really good, you just got to say, okay, I'm going to give this 6 to 9 months, probably 9. And I'm going to have to figure this out. But if I'm getting taken down 37 times because my opponents are getting to my legs easy because my stance is crappy, my confidence suffers. So here you are, you're at a tournament. You beat the 2-time state champ. Your team's patting you on the back. You think you're the star. Walking around like Rocky after Rocky 4, right? Well, guess what? Next round, you lose to a JV kid who's terrible. And you're like, what happened? Well, guess what? Your wrestling's inconsistent because your stance is crappy. And also because your mindset is crappy because your mental game is weak. Your mental game is not good. We have a mental game course coming out on our online academy soon. So we're moving everything over to Lightspeed virtual training. You guys follow Bradley online. We're moving everything over to them. They're the best. We're just doing it. But we're adding courses too. How to get a college scholarship, how to cut weight, how to everything. So you can have a library. Well, I will tell you this. When your confidence suffers because you got taken down 12 times in practice or 37 times in practice, or you lost to a JV kid last weekend, that emotional high didn't last very long, did it? So why'd you lose to a JV kid? Because I was scared and nervous because I got taken down 37 times in practice on Friday, and then Saturday at the tournament I had a good match, but I really didn't know if that was a fluke, if I was really that good, because I got taken down 37 times on Friday, and then I wrestled a JV kid and he had big muscles and he took me down first and I choked. Okay, well, your confidence is crappy. So guess what? When I take the chaos out of wrestling, I tell my guys this, and girls, if your goal is to be able to go a 2-point match with anybody in America who's within 10 pounds in 2 years of you. So if I'm a freshman or a sophomore and I'm wrestling a junior or senior, they're 10 pounds lighter, 10 pounds bigger, I can go a 2-point match. I can go to Colorado, California, Nevada, Connecticut, Utah, Pennsylvania. I don't care about Pennsylvania. I'll go there and have a 2-point match with everybody. I'll beat most of them. I'll beat 85% and I'll lose to a couple. But guess what? I'm going to have a tight match. Why? Because my stance is always on point. So stance leads to confidence too. Makes you faster, makes you stronger, limits what your opponent can do to you, and keeps you in a striking position like a snake ready to strike a rat. And it helps you to have confidence because you have taken the chaos out of your wrestling and the nervousness and anxiety out of your wrestling and uncertainty. You've taken the uncertainty out of your wrestling, haven't you? Okay? So stance is pretty much everything. All right, we're at 10 minutes already. I got one thing covered, stance. I got like 18. But as far as scoring more takedowns, also think about your level change. Your level change is 500 times more important than your setup or your finish. Level change is everything. A level change is a setup. If you're in a good stance and the bottom falls out of my stance, your heels lift off the mat. Weight loads onto your thumbs that are tying up with me. I score. At least I have an opportunity. So my butt hits the mat before I shoot or I don't shoot. It's that simple, right? So level change is everything. So how do you get a better level change? In your drilling, you hit a slow motion setup. Pass or fake elbow pass, chase the legs. Level change, hold it. 1001, 1002, shoot. And you should shoot like a check mark if you're hitting a blast, double, drive, single leg, or head outside attacks, right? Online Academy, you should have it. You should know this stuff. This is basic. What I'm telling you, you're like blown away. You're like, this guy's a freaking genius. He knows all this stuff. This is basic wrestling, guys. My 7-year-olds know this. But that's the reason 23% of Missouri's high school state champions train in my rooms, right? With me and my coaches, because I teach my coaches this and they teach the kids this, and then they do it. Not everybody stays. Some quit. They don't see the value anymore. Some don't stay. I don't chase kids around. I don't chase parents. They find something they think's better, go ahead. But, you know, we're winning and we're not going to change the way we do things. But this is basic wrestling, okay? So, and think about your check mark stance for those leg attacks. And on our online academy, we do have a dynamic drilling routine. Push, pull, hit, pick, post, pass, and fake. That's how you score takedowns. You put 2 to 3 of those together. That's called stringing your setups together. The college coaches do this. This is super basic wrestling at the college level. We call that dynamic wrestling, dynamic drilling. We have a library of dynamic drilling setups to your leg attacks. But so setups are important, but I would say level change is way more important. I see kids are like, my son is stuck on the mat. My girl's stuck on her face. Oh, okay. Let's rewind. Then I use the awesome iPhone and I scroll slowly and I'm like, holy crap, partner was in a crappy stance. But they're 8 years old or they're 14 years old. They don't know how to wrestle yet. But dude, that post was magic. That was an awesome setup against a good wrestling stance, but not a perfect rest. Oh, what? Your level change wasn't there. Oh, dang it. So now your knee hits shallow, your face falls on the mat, your arms extended, they sprawl halfway, and now you're stuck down there extended. Level change. Positioning and level change. Now let's think about hand speed and foot speed. So you want to think about those too, right? You should practice your hand, feet, and foot speed. So I drop my level, I hold it for 1001, 1002, boom, and I hit with fast hands, fast feet. I incorporate fast hands, fast feet. You know, we shoot like this sometimes, right? Because you don't swing a baseball bat like this. You don't throw a football like this. No, you snap, you kick, you step and kick, you step and punch, you karate kick, you strike, you throw the softball, you punch the bag, you kick, you swing the tennis racket, you snap the baseball bat. So short, explosive, powerful movements. That's the explosivity, or that's the athleticism of combative sports. And if you have our online wrestling academy, you should have that. It's everything. So it's $275 to join, and it's $15 a month. Skip a stupid tournament where you're going to wrestle the same 11 or the same 4 kids for 11 minutes. Save that $120. Don't go to Georgia Nationals. Don't go to Kentucky Nationals. It's $700 for 13 minutes of wrestling. It's stupid. Don't go to that. Take that money, get a home wrestling mat, get my own running wrestling academy, and start making something of yourself. Look at my website, Stefan Mishik. He just got 3rd in the world. He was 11. His dad's like, I looked everywhere. You sound like the best. Bought yours. My son is an All-American. Probably would have won a couple NCAA titles. Tragic injuries, that guy. Now he's 3rd in the world. Nick Lee, Penn State. Vic Voinovich, he's at Oklahoma State now. I think number 2 ranked guy in America in 2021. Nick Lee, Penn State. How about Noah Certain, Mizzou? He's going to win. He's being an All-American, maybe a national champ. He was the hottest item last year in lightweight wrestling. Studied it. Trenton and Colton Schultz. Colton's a 3-time world champion in high school. Their dad bought my DVDs, quit wrestling, and they train twice a day on a jiu-jitsu tatami mat with a wrestling coach who owned a jiu-jitsu gym. Won a couple world titles in high school, and I was at Arizona State, NCAA runner-up, and he's a Greco-Roman Team USA member. That's the 4 or 5 main guys, but we've had a lot of guys who have enjoyed massive success because of our system. Plus all the hundreds that we have. Just hit 15, actually. It's a nice round, even number. Just hit number 15 Division I wrestlers out of Purler Wrestling Academy. Just this year alone. Out of our academy, not our camps. There's a bunch of those guys doing well, too. So get our online academy. Get a home mat. Quit being at the mercy of your high school or youth or middle school or pee-wee coach. Take the bull by the horns. Get 3 dads. Go in on it. Go in on a home mat and start to make something out of yourself. But so as far as back to the takedown stuff, right? You have to have a level change. How about hand fighting? Push, pull, hit, pick, post, pass, and fake. 7 ways to take down your opponent. You want to make sure that you burn your level change into your attack, hold it for 2 seconds, score. In a match, you're not going to, but you incorporate that. Maybe the first 5 or 6 reps of your drill, maybe the first 2 or 3. Hold your level change, punch. We call it squat punch. We do squat punch drills all the time in wrestling. How many of you guys practice your level change? Nobody. I bet college coaches don't even practice level change. It's always on our practice plan. So level change is good. As far as hand fighting is just setups using your hands, right? So you can score from the outside, which is scoring from a feel. That's all instinctive, just like a boxer throwing a boxing punch. I can't grab you and hold you and pull you into me and punch you. That's illegal in boxing. All boxing and striking, most of the striking anyway, in MMA and so forth, is instinctive. So is striking from space is instinctive. But there's also setups, right? And different tie-ups have different setups. If I'm an inside tie and an elbow, I have an elbow control over here or a pick. If you collar tie, that's a bent arm. We pass bent arms, pink straight arms. You know, we can also post straight arms. You know that from our online wrestling academy. You should have that. And then there's your setups from there. We also score from they're called controlled ties, but I call them hard ties. Hard tie-ups, collar tie right hand, collar tie left hand. Always stay forehead to forehead on your collar tie, by the way. You probably don't do that. You probably go ear to ear, and it's just not very smart if you want to attack the legs. It's on the Online Wrestling Academy. You should have that. PurlerWrestling.com. But you have your elbow control, underhooks, tie-up positions, right? So that's really the 3 ways that we score takedowns. And, yeah, we're at 18 minutes. I'll just stop here. But like I said, now you have some ideas. Why am I not scoring more points on my feet? Well, there you go. There's a few ideas. And if you're like, this guy's pretty smart. This guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I probably do, because I quit my job teaching in 1999 and I started coaching full-time. And guess what? Unlike the college coaches who have a nice cushy contract, high school coaches, they got tenure. You can't fire those guys if you wanted to. Me, I fight for my paycheck every day. I have to be amazing and maybe the best, or I don't get paid. Mom and Dad aren't going to give me 6 months. They give me like 6 practices. They don't show back up. So this is my job, right? We just built on another 8,100 square foot of space. Check out all of our social media pages. We have a strength and conditioning facility. Adding jiu-jitsu now. We have summer wrestling camp sold out. We have kids flying in. We had girls from Canada fly in for a weekend last weekend. And they're flying in from Hawaii and Alaska in 2 weeks from now, our competition camp, right? Some of you guys go to these tournaments. Sure, you got to go to the big 2 or 3 tournaments, but some of these national tournaments, these dual meet events, you're spending $2 grand on these things. It's silly. Less than $200, you can come to our tournament, our camp, and stay overnight and get like 50 matches worth of live wrestling. It's 5 hours and 15 minutes of live wrestling, 3.5 hours of drill time. Get to train with kids from about 20 or 30 different states. I mean, you spend $700, $900, $1,200 on 14 minutes of wrestling. It's like getting to be silly at some point in time. Take that money and come to 4 competition camps. Blow your freaking mind. Career changing. Get our online academy. Buy a home mat. You say a home mat's expensive. No, it's not. You can buy a home mat for $750 for a 12 by 12. Don't get a 10 by 10. It's a waste of money. Get a 12 by 12 minimum. 14, 16 by 12 is perfect. Buy some wall mats. Get a good scale. Skip a tournament. Get a good scale. Your kids need to know what they weigh. Get a jump rope. Get a heater so they can have a place to cut weight. Let's equip ourselves with opportunities here. And let's just quit showing up to random wrestling practice and letting random coaches experiment on our kids and say, oh, maybe Cale Sanderson's going to call me one day. It ain't going to happen. You got to have a plan, man. You got to organize this. This is not 1980s or 1990s. Holy shit, these kids are freaking getting good because they're on a plan. So I would encourage you to raise the bar. If you've watched this video, we're at 21 minutes already. If you've watched all this, you're probably serious. The people who opted out, they gave up on their wrestling career a long time ago. They'll probably watch more of my videos, and then they'll turn it off, and then they'll go to something else, right? But if you've watched this far, I would encourage you, just go to PurlerWrestling.com. We have 10 programs we offer. Online training, private lessons. I mean, everything. You don't have to live near St. Louis, Missouri. But you can fly in for training at our 26,000 square foot privately owned training center. You can fly in and train there. 56-day wrestling camps, 28-day wrestling camps, all the way down to 5-day wrestling camps, 7 years old to 18 years old. And we have different camp formats for the experience levels. I mean, we're just simply the best. I just sound arrogant, but it's true. We have girls programs, year-round girls programs. They're flown from Canada last week for a weekend to train with us. Our girls programs are mind-blowing. They're selling their freaking houses from Oregon to Maryland to train with us. They're giving up their careers and getting new jobs to come and train with us. I mean, I encourage you to consider it. But as far as getting more takedowns, I think I hit 3 areas, and some of those kind of branch off into other topics. But you know, complete total education is what you need. Your double leg and half Nelson and chicken wing and cross face cradle. Everybody knows that. You're working hard, so you lift weights in the weight room at high school, so you gotta get better. We gotta buckle down and get a plan. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna do it. You're not. And sure, you know, maybe you're Class 2 Missouri or Class 1 Kentucky State Champion 4 times. No one cares about that. Unless you're in Ohio, Pennsylvania, large school Iowa, large school Indiana, I mean California. No one cares. No one cares. I've had kids never played. My son never won a state title. Big concussion issue probably cost him 1 state title. Had Division I schools after him. Just chose not to wrestle in college. He just needed something different, which is cool. But now he's back training with us. Literally one of the best coaches in America. I'll blow your freaking mind to get around Ty Purler. I guarantee you that. And then I've seen kids who win a bunch of state titles in Class 2 Missouri. No one cares, right? Not knocking it. I wasn't a large class kid either. But you got to go on the national level nowadays. This is not the 80s and 90s. Go to the national level, get your freaking head beat in quick. Those guys are serious, man. They're serious. So I'm encouraging you, if you watch this video for 24 minutes and 45 seconds, you're serious. But let's get a plan going. Let's get a training system in place. And if we can help, let me know. PurlerWrestling.com. My cell phone's over there. Give me a call. I'll talk to you if I need to. Yeah. Peck around there. Raise the bar. Everyone else is. And you're going to miss out unless you do. Takedown tips. There you go.